As in the previous class, we have started with the new chapter, that is digestion and absorption. So you have already come across with the digestive system. In that you have studied the structure of the alimentary canal. Then after the alimentary canal, you have come across with the wall of the alimentary canal, which is being made up of the four layers. Okay, so as the digestive system is not only including the alimentary canal, it also includes even the digestive glands also. So with respect to the digestive gland, you have come across with the three digestive glands, that is the liver, pancreas and the gall bladder. Okay, so along with the digestive glands, you have come across with the duct system of the liver, pancreas and the gall bladder. Then after that, we have started with the next topic, that is the digestion of food, where we have discussed the digestion of the food is going to take place with the two method, that is the mechanical and the chemical method. So if you come take the example of the buccal cavity, inside the buccal cavity it also undergoes the digestion of the food with respect to the mechanical process as well as the chemical process. So the mechanical process means where the food what you are going to take, so that food is being masticated, that food is being achieved into the smaller particles. Okay, all those smaller particles will be made to get adhered together with the help of the sticky substance, that is the mucus, which will be present inside the saliva. Okay, so this when all the food particles, the smaller food particles are going to stick together with the help of the mucus which is present in the saliva, that is going to form a bolus. So that bolus is being moved from your buccal cavity to the pharynx, from pharynx to the esophagus. In the esophagus, it is, as the esophagus, the food pipe is longer in the length, so it is going to move across the length of the esophagus or the food pipe with the help of the peristaltic movement. Then from the esophagus, the bolus is entering inside into the stomach with the help that is being regulated by the sphincter, that is called gastroesophageal sphincter. So this is the mechanical method where the food what we are going to take, when it enters inside the buccal cavity, how it is going to move till the stomach. But when the food what you are going to take, when it enters inside your the buccal cavity, so that food is being achieved into smaller food particles. So that time, with the help of the saliva, even a chemical process is going to takes place. So what is that chemical process, or what is that chemical step of the digestion which is being initiated inside your oral cavity or the buccal cavity? So that is the breakdown of the polysaccharide, that is the starch, into the maltose, where it is being taken by the enzyme, where it is the breakdown of the starch into maltose is being done by the enzyme that is called as the salivary amylase. So this salivary amylase, it is the enzyme which is present inside the saliva. Then this is the chemical step which is being taking place inside our buccal cavity or the oral cavity. Then I said the food is going to enter from the esophagus to the stomach with the help of a gastroesophageal sphincter. So when the food enters from the esophagus to the stomach, so that stomach, you all know that the wall of the alimentary canal, the wall of the parts of the digestive system is always made up of the four layers. So in that, the innermost layer called as the mucosa, so that mucosa is made up of the epithelium tissue. So that mucosa layer of the stomach is consisting of the digestive that is the digestive gland, that is with respect to the stomach, it is called as the gastric gland. So that gastric gland is consisting of the three different types of cells, where those three different types of the cells are going to secrete the mucus, then the inactive proenzyme that is called a pepsinogen, and it is going to secrete even the hydrochloric acid. So all these are being used for the digestion of the food which is going to take place inside the stomach, because only with respect to the 30% of the polysaccharide is being digested chemically, it is being broken down chemically inside our oral cavity, but the proteins, partially the proteins are being broken down inside our stomach. Why inside the stomach the proteins are being digested chemically? Because this gastric glands, they are going, which are consisting of the gastric cells, so that gastric cells are consisting the three different types of the cells, where those three different types of the cells are secreting the inactive proenzyme called as pepsinogen. So this pepsinogen is going to help in the breakdown of the proteins, where the proteins are made up of the amino acid. Each amino acid will be linked together with the help of the peptide bonds. So that peptide bonds, in between two amino acid there will be a presence of a peptide bond, because of that they are also called as the peptide also. Okay, so I said that partially the proteins are being digested chemically inside our stomach with the help of the proenzyme, that is the proteolytic enzyme. Proteolytic enzyme means which helps in the breakdown of the proteins, that is called the pepsinogen, but this will be in the inactive condition. So that inactivated pepsinogen will be made as active pepsin with the help of the hydrochloric acid, which is being secreted by the gastric cell, that is called as oxyntic or parietal cells. And then in case of this stomach, the food, whatever the food enters into the stomach, so that food is going to be stored for 4 to 5 hours. So in within that 4 to 5 hours the food is being made to mix thoroughly with the gastric juice. So that gastric juice is mixing with the food. So when the food is going to get mixed with the gastric juice, that is called as chyme. Until then it will be the bolus. So how that bolus is made, how that food is being made to mix with the gastric juice, that is being done by the contraction of the muscles of the stomach, where it undergoes the churning movement. Okay, then one so you have understood now what is the use of the HCl. So HCl is going to help for making the inactive pepsinogen to make it as activated. Okay, one more is to maintain the pH of our stomach also. Then if the hydrochloric acid secretion becomes more, the pH is going to become more. So in that condition there will be a wear and tear of the tissues may takes place inside the stomach. So to avoid it, the wall of the stomach is being lined with the mucus, where the mucus will be secreted from the mucous neck cell, which is a gastric cell present in the gastric gland. Okay, then in the previous class I even said about the renin, which is also a proteolytic enzyme, but that proteolytic enzyme will be present inside the infants. Okay, why? Because this renin, as the infants, they will be mainly depending upon the mother's breast milk. So in that condition, to break that milk proteins, to digest the milk proteins, there is a presence of a proteolytic enzyme, where it will be present only in case of the infants. Okay, so this is with respect to the digestion of the food, with respect to chemical and mechanical, which is going to take place inside the stomach. So after that the food is going to enter inside the small intestine. So when it comes to the small intestine is having the three parts. What are those three parts? Those three parts are duodenum, jejunum and the ileum. So when the food enters from the stomach to the small intestine. First it is going to reach the duodenum. So in this duodenum, you know that the duodenum is having, in between the two arms of the duodenum, there is one lateral connection, lateral joint is being observed from the liver and pancreas. What is that? That is the hepatopancreatic duct, which is going to arise from the liver and pancreas, are going to get opened inside the duodenum. So this duodenum is going to receive the secretions of pancreas also, liver also, and its own secretion. Its own secretion means the intestine is also going to secrete the juice. That juice, that is the secretion is called as the secretion from the intestine is called as the intestinal juice. So here now I shall differentiate all these three juices. One is bile juice, pancreatic juice, and the intestinal juice. So you all know that the bile juice will not be consisting of the any enzymes. Instead of the enzymes, it will be having the two pigments, that is bilirubin and biliverdin. Other than the two pigments, this bile juice will be consisting of the bile salts, cholesterol, and phospholipids, whereas the pancreas will be consisting of the pancreatic enzymes, no any other pigments. Then intestinal juice, so that intestinal juice will be consisting of the enzymes. Okay, so the enzyme what is secreted, what is being present inside the intestinal juice is called as enterokinase. Then I said that the pancreatic juice will be consisting of the enzymes. How many enzymes? 6 enzymes. What are those 6 enzymes? Those 6 enzymes are trypsinogen, procarboxypeptidases, chymotrypsin, amylases, lipases, and the nucleases. So these are the 6 enzymes which are present inside the pancreatic juice. But remember, all these 6 enzymes are in the inactivated state. Okay, so this when the enzymes are in the inactivate stage, so these enzymes cannot be used for any of the activities which are going to take place inside the small intestine. So to involve for the activities which are going to take place inside the inside the small intestine, so those enzymes should be made as activated. Okay, so to activate these enzymes, there is the usage of enzyme from the intestinal juice. So what is the intestinal juice? The enzyme, so that intestinal juice is consisting of the enzyme called as the enterokinase. So this enterokinase is the enzyme which is secreted from the intestinal mucosa. So that intestinal mucosa, which is made up of the epithelium, so that itself is going to secrete the juice called as intestinal juice. So that intestinal juice is consisting of an enzyme called as enterokinase. So this enterokinase, it is going to activate the trypsinogen. Why it is going to activate the trypsinogen? Because the trypsinogen will be in the inactive form. So this inactive form of the enzyme is made activated with the help of the enterokinase, which is present in the intestinal juice. Okay, so when the enterokinase on getting exposed to the trypsinogen, so that trypsinogen is going to become activated. So what is the activated form of the trypsinogen? So the activated form of the trypsinogen is called as active trypsin. Among the 6 enzymes, only one enzyme of the pancreatic juice is going to get exposed with the enterokinase. When the trypsinogen is going to become active, the remaining all other 5 enzymes of the pancreatic juice are going to get activated. Okay, so the inactive form of the pancreatic juices are trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, procarboxypeptidases, nucleases, lipases, and amylases. These are the inactive forms of the pancreatic enzymes. When they get activated, the trypsinogen becomes a trypsin, chymotrypsinogen becomes chymotrypsin, procarboxypeptidases becomes that is as carboxypeptidases, and lipases, amylases, nucleases, they remain same with respect to the name, but they will be as activated. Okay, so these are the activated forms of the pancreatic enzymes which are present inside the pancreatic juice. So here these pancreatic juices and the bile juice and the intestinal juice are present right now inside the duodenum. So remember, here the bile juice is helping for the two important functions. What are those two important functions? The bile juice, I have told it that the bile juice is going to help in the process of emulsification of fats. What is that emulsification of the fats? The fat molecules are macromolecules, so that macromolecules will be broken down into the smaller molecules, that is as the smaller measles. This is one function, and one more function is it is also activating the pancreatic enzyme called as lipases also. Why lipases? Why only it is going to activate the lipases? Because the lipase is going to help in the digestion of the fat molecules. So this bile juice is going to help in the breakdown of the fat molecules, and to break these fat molecules, what the enzyme is present in the pancreatic juice, so that lipase is also being made activated. Okay, so now all these enzymes are helping for the, that is the enterokinase enzyme, which is present in the intestinal juice, so that is going to help for the activation of the pancreatic enzymes. Okay, so now the pancreatic enzymes are being activated. It means they are ready to help for the chemical digestion of the food only inside the duodenum. So now please listen carefully. The intestinal mucosa, that is intestinal mucosa means the intestine, the duodenum, where the duodenum is having the innermost layer called as the mucosa. So that mucosa is made up of the epithelium tissue. So that epithelium tissue is consisting of the cells. So among those cells, one cell is called goblet cells. So that goblet cell, remember what is the function of the goblet cell? The goblet cell is going to help for the secretion of mucus. Okay, so this is with respect to the goblet cells which are present in the epithelium tissue of the mucosa layer. As you all know that the intestine, the small intestine, the mucosa layer of the small intestine is going to show the modifications. What are those modifications? That modification is, it is going to form the finger like projections, and those finger like projections are called as the villi. Okay, on the villi, to give the villi brush border, so there are presence of the microvilli. So these brush border cells of the mucosa, brush border cells of the mucosa means the mucosa which is going to show the modification, that is called as the villi. On the villi, the brush border cells are microvilli. So these microvilli are going to secrete the product. Okay, so that product which is going to come from the brush border cells of the mucosa, and along with the secretion of the goblet cells, that is the mucus. So now the secretion of the goblet cell and the secretion of the brush border cell together are together it is called as intestinal juice, or it is called as succus entericus. Okay, so don't get confused. So this intestinal juice, what I am telling, it is constituting the secretion of brush border cells of the mucosa and the secretion of the goblet cells. Don't get confused with the intestinal juice, which is secreted from the intestinal mucosa, where it is consisting of an enzyme, that is enterokinase. That is also the correct. That is intestinal mucosa, it is consisting of the enzyme that is called as enterokinase, that is used for the activation of the pancreatic enzymes. So now the intestinal juice, it is going to mix with the secretion of the goblet cell, that is going called as the mucus. So together the secretion of goblet cell and the secretion of the intestinal mucosa, together it is called as succus entericus. So what is the use of this succus entericus? So this succus entericus, it is consisting of the variety of the enzymes. What are those variety of the enzymes? The variety of enzymes are dipeptidases, lipases, nucleosidases and disaccharidases. These are the different types of the enzymes which are present in the intestinal juice, or it is also called as succus entericus. So what is the use of these enzymes? Please listen. In case of the food what you are going to take, so that food it will be consisting of the carbohydrates, it is consisting of the proteins, it will be consisting of the lipids, it will be that is lipid means it will be consisting of the fats. All these will be broken down inside, chemically they will be broken down inside the small intestine only. But with respect to the oral cavity, some 30% of carbohydrates are being broken down as polysaccharide to the disaccharide, but remaining 70% of the polysaccharides are in that the macromolecular form only. So to break those polysaccharides, there should be the presence of the enzymes. So that enzyme are being given by this succus entericus, because all the 30% of carbohydrates are not all the 100% of carbohydrates are not being digested chemically inside our oral cavity. Only 30% of it is being broken down. Okay, when it comes to the protein, partially the proteins will be broken down into the peptides inside the stomach. Proteins, when you go on hydrolyzing the proteins, the end product we are going to receive it as the amino acid, but inside the stomach those proteins will be broken down as only the peptides or only the peptones. They are not being broken down completely as amino acids. So here, to break complete, to make the digestion of the food chemically with respect to the 100%, the enzymes are present inside this succus entericus. So how these enzymes are being used for the breakdown of 100% completely the chemical digestion, that we are going to discuss in the next class. Keep studying. Thank you.